Henry, Dean Ewan, and Akil Leachman. Just looking ahead to the game before the players come out of their huddles. What do you make of the game we have up for our viewers today, Leger?
Yeah, it's going to be a very intriguing one. Tivoli, they've fallen out of the top 6 race somewhat for a couple of weeks now. They really haven't lived up to what they would have wanted to accomplish ahead of this season. That being said, they are a team full of pride. They are a team full of quality as well. And I'm sure they'll be looking to put a very good foot forward. Molynes, as you mentioned, won their last 3 games. Firstly, let's speak about the referees in the encounter. Damian Parchment, the man in the middle, Gavin Carvalho, O'Neill Clayton. As a matter of fact, it's actually Ricardo McKenzie and Gavin Carvalho, the assistants. But yeah, Tivoli, they will be looking to get some things going today. Molynes, they'll be looking to continue their good form and try and find points out of the relegation zone. They always seem to do that at the right time, and they're looking to do so once more. We're on the way, mind you, and it's Tivoli in possession early, kicking from left to right on your screen. Meanwhile, Molynes in their blue, kicking from right to left.
Now Fuller with a crossfield pass, looking over that right-hand side. Finds his man. Lovely pass, great technique to find Kimberly Smith, who retains possession there despite being under some pressure. Ethan Thomas leaves it for him. Fuller gets it back, skips away from a challenge there from Michael Odupe. Still has possession. Fuller still going. Plays it out wide now. Henry with a cross into the box that's eventually cleared. And that will go out for a throw in there.
Yeah, I think Molynes United will do really well to avoid getting in situations like that where Nikolai Fuller is allowed to roam, allowed to get on the ball as much as possible in central areas especially. Molynes trying to forge an attack of their own.
It's played back.
Yep.
Tivoli Gardens now just content to recycle possession at the back there with Kevon Wilson assessing his options. Eventually plays a pass toward Fuller, who couldn't get to it, but now is Leachman taking on the defender. Can he get past him? Cuts back, attempts a cross. Unfortunately, not enough power on it to reach his intended target, and Molynes United can break forward, but the pass, however, that was intended for Nicoche Mori off the mark there, and a lovely bit of skill to shift his hips and get past the defender. Cross coming in now from Fuller, and just beyond his man there, Kimberly Smith.
Yeah, always a constant threat, no matter who he's facing. Nikolai Fuller, one of the premier talents in the Jamaica Premier League.
Nicoche Mori,
young talents especially.
off the mark there, and a lovely bit of skill to
evading his
shift
defender.
his hips and get past the defender. Cross
O'Dane
coming
Murray.
in now from Fuller.
Very familiar with this turf and this ground as well. O'Dane Murray having spent some time at Mount Pleasant as well. But even on the topic of Nikolai Fuller, not having the season that I'm sure he would have wanted to, not only from a team perspective, but maybe from an individual one as well. Only 5 goals to his name this season. Not quite reaching the lofty heights that his talent would promise this season. I'm sure there will be a lot of suitors in for him during the summer window, however, John.
Most definitely. His production in front of goal has really regressed from last season, where at times he seemed unplayable. And as you mentioned, only 5 goals on the season, and in fact, he's without a goal in his last 14 games, but they'll be hoping that he can stop this awful run of form in front of goal and help his team move forward. But it won't be an easy task. This is a informed and inspired Molynes United team. Wilson giving up the fall there. Another free kick to be taken by Tyreek Wilson. Simpson plays downfield looking for Smith, and he does find his man there, Ewan. Out wide now. Ooh, risky pass, and it's not come off there. Molynes United can break now with Nelson, but his pass is intercepted, but it's actually fortuitously made its way over to his teammate. Murray, the pass over now. He gets it. Cross coming in, and it's actually the knee there of Wilson that's managed to clear that, and it will be a corner kick to Molynes United.
Yeah, they have been under the cosh for a little bit of the opening section of this game, but nonetheless, they've still found ways to pose a threat themselves, Molynes United, and they do, I'm sure, want a very quick start in this game. An early goal would do wonders not only for their confidence, but generally in their overall play. Getting a lead, getting something to defend, especially in the perilous situation that they find themselves in. They did say that they entered today's play in 12th position, John. Down there fighting away with especially Treasure Beach and Harbour View when it comes on to trying to stave off relegation. But as they do time after time, season after season, they find points at very crucial times during the season. They're looking to find a goal here.
It's cleared at the near post there by Nathan Thomas. Molynes United still on the attack, however. Oh, and he's done well to get past Thomas, I'll tell you that. And eventually, he does win a corner there, Barrett. Another opportunity for Molynes United just to take this lead pretty early in the game.
Yeah, hopefully this delivery can be a little bit better. Ronaldo Barrett didn't get that one across to his coach's liking. It is a much better corner, but dealt with.
Cleared there eventually by Francis. And Dupe, I believe, still on the ball. Cross coming in now. It's a dangerous one, headed, but not headed away. Cross coming in once more. And Wilson this time with the clearance. Molynes United still on the attack. Eventually, they lose possession. Now they have a chance for a counter. Oh, bit of miscommunication there from the teammates. And Murray with the pass. And the attempted pass there into Samson Oki, just not quite coming off. Nice vision, but the execution, however, not up to par. And that will go out for a goal kick to Molynes, to Tivoli Gardens, rather. I have to say it has been an exciting season thus far, and of course we are drawing to a close. Majority of teams with about 3 games remaining, Leger. And as you mentioned before, it is an interesting race at the bottom to see who can stay up. Molynes United actually level on points with Harbour View, who had a shot win yesterday against league leaders Montego United, who of course have secured qualification, their automatic bye into the semi-final. So perhaps that played a part, maybe complacency, but nevertheless they won't mind. That Harbour View team desperately will need those 3 points. But Molynes United have looked to be the better of the two in regards to form. And Treasure Beach can't count them out as well. Of course, got a shot win over a team that's going to play later tonight in Waterhouse. And to do it away as well, it takes some doing.
Yeah, and continue their good form as well by beating Dumbo Holding yesterday by a goal to nil.
Goal thanks to Jaheim Harris. And ooh, bit of a high boot there, but no foul. They still have the counter. Have a chance now. Can get this cross in. Can he keep it in play? Yes, he can, but eventually lost possession of the ball. But that was not a bad attack at all, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, just overcooked that pass a bit. Turned what was a very good transitional opportunity into a failed one in the end. Tivoli. Molynes short of numbers at the back on that occasion, but they couldn't take advantage.
Dane Ewan unable to have the pace in that moment that was required to get on the end of that pass, but Tivoli Gardens, ooh, they've given away possession here in a pretty disadvantageous position. And a bit of a slip there from Ewan in the middle of the park. Now they have a chance to cross with Dane Murray. Whips it in, and that's headed away by Wilson. Seen a lot of action from him defensively thus far. Oh, lovely pass now into the path of Nelson. Composed. Perhaps too composed, because I thought he could have had a shot there. It was 1v1 with the goalkeeper. The angle was favoring the goalkeeper, but still, he's been content to win a corner for Molynes United.
Yeah, it was a really good pass from Tyreek Wilson. His ingenuity there. Francis closed down the angle quickly. Didn't allow the expert marksman to get a shot off. And in the end, it's another corner kick, the third of the afternoon for Molynes United.
Lofted towards the back post. Goes all the way over, however. Neil trying to find his teammate there, but Fuller eventually plays a pass. And switched over wide now to Kimarley Smith. Controls at the second time of asking, plays his pass now. And Leachman gets it back to Smith. Ewan back to Smith. Oh, lovely passing play until it wasn't. Lost possession, however. And the offside flag goes up against Nelson there. Well, as we mentioned before, has been in great form in front of goal this season, as he usually is. 15 on the season in total, 12 for Molynes United since coming back to them.
Yeah, it was at Dumbo Holding earlier in the season. Tried to roll away from his defender, Cavan Wilson there, but Nicholas Nelson is just one of those players. I think one of the very best strikers the league has had to offer for quite a few seasons now. And I think he's one of those rare breeds. I think Nicholas Nelson could play for any club at any time, no matter what sort of position they're in. They could be at top of the table, they could be at the base of it, and he guarantees you goals no matter what. Such his quality, and he's looking to continue that quality and continue to pour in goals to save Molynes United this season. And Nikolai Fuller, I beg your pardon, unable to save that one from going out of play.
So taken quickly now. Okay, didn't know too much about the pass, however, came off the back of his head, and he's arguing for the throw-in to go their way, and he's actually won that decision there, which will be taken by Dane Murray. Okay. Double teamed in the corner, looking for space, eventually makes a cross, but it's low and straight into a defender. And the first touch there from Leachman takes him away from the defender. Fuller now with a crossfield pass, looking for Smith, unable to get it to him, and that's headed away there by Adupe. Now Tivoli Gardens have a throw. Bit of a slow start so far from Tivoli Gardens. They'll be hoping that they can quickly get into this one, but now they're having to defend and attack now, and the clearance there wasn't the greatest, and now Oke has a chance. Pass to Nelson, and he opens the scoring. He just can't stop scoring at the moment, can he? 16th of the season for Nicholas Nelson.
Yeah, we were just waxing lyrical about his quality and what he provides for this Molynes team or for any team in the Jamaica Premier League. And he's there, right place, right time. Okay, pouncing on that failed clearance. Showed really good strength. It rolled across. And you may think it was an easy goal. You may think that he was in that space by accident. Expert strikers, nothing comes by accident for him. And once more, he's provided a crucial goal for Molynes United, and they take the lead 13 minutes into this one.
And I think at this point, Shackwell Henry will have to just quickly get his head back into the game and avoid looking back at that mistake or dwelling on it too much, because could argue he was at fault there. But at this level, it's about how you bounce back from your mistakes. And unfortunately, it has proved to be a costly one. They're down 1-0 now, and Molynes United in the hunt for a fourth win in a row. And I have to say, in doing some research over the last couple of weeks into Molynes United, I've found that in terms of the quality of chances they've been generating, as well as how they defended. They're actually one of the better teams so far in the league, and they could be poised for perhaps a really good season next season if they can just tweak certain areas of their roster.
It was a roster that was heavily invested in ahead of this season. A lot of foreign players coming in, a lot of quality coming in as well. I feel like this is something we say about Molynes constantly throughout the years. They have a so-so season, sometimes anchors on a poor season, end the season very strongly, surviving relegation in the end comfortably. Then we say that they can maybe use this form to push on, and then it's just a repeat. Well, you know, anything is possible. They do have a very good head coach at the helm, Jermaine Thomas. Recently the assistant coach for the national under-20 team that was successful in the first part of their qualification process of the World Cup. Good touch there from Nelson, who lays it off. Fired just over.
Barry, link up now. No.
Yo, we have to chat after. You connect after, here?
You want to upgrade your general pass to the VIP. Because be an extra.
Goal kick coming up for Tivoli.
Play downfield now. Headed away. Wilson. Lovely ball over to OK. He has room to run in. However, being chased down by Henry. Cuts back, and Henry does well there. Stood his ground. Clears downfield. Looking for Leachman, but that's headed away. Good defending in the end there by Cuesta. Dupe. Lovely hold-up play there, and Wilson skips away from Simpson. Cross coming in, but good defending once more by Kevon Wilson. And Tyreek Wilson will go over to take the corner, and it's not just Nelson this season. That young man over there, Tyreek Wilson, he's actually been pretty good so far this season as well. Actually scored last week in their win over Racing United.
Yeah, usually does most of his damage from a creative standpoint. Tyreek Wilson, very two-footed. Did mention his ingenuity earlier in the game as well. Let's see what he can engineer here. It's only a corner that's claimed by Francis. But his clearance straight to O'Dane Murray, who has acres of space and time to build another attack for Molynes United.
Ooh, a bit of a hefty challenge there coming in, but Tivoli Gardens won't stop play for anything. They want to get a goal back. Fuller dancing before eventually playing it off to Thomas. Henry. And now Ewan skipping past Murray. Lays it off Leachman, and not enough pace on the pass, and that's booted out of play. Will be a throw-in to Tivoli Gardens. Really unable to make any headway thus far in the game, and as I mentioned before, they're not a team that scores many goals. As you can see, their top scorer this season actually is Fuller, tied with Anthony Nelson and Radika Wellington with only 5. And trust me, it's not really a matter of underlying numbers being better. They actually just don't really generate enough chances to score more than they actually do right now, and that's a problem they're going to have to rectify, not just for the remainder of this season, but next, Leger.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm sure they'll have higher aspirations than what they would have accomplished so far this season. Another one of their key goal scorers, ironically, Alton Lewis, out of the squad today, collapsed a few weeks ago at Waterhouse, is recovering, was suffering from a little bit of low blood sugar, I've been told.
Free kick from Wilson. No one there, however, unable to make any sort of contact to direct it goalward. Wilson finds Fuller with a attempt at flicking the ball over the defender's head, but didn't quite come off there. And I just believe that as talented as he is, we'd really want to see him take his game to the next level, Fuller, and a part of that is probably going to be his decision making. Wonderful talent. We've already seen him, of course, don the national team colors, scoring in that friendly early in January against Grenada. He'll do wonders for his confidence to show him that he belongs at that level after scoring on his debut for the country. And okay, not sure who we saw there, but the pass that I think was intended for Nelson, unable to find him there. Headed on to Wilson now by UN. Looking for Nelson, unable to find him. And Tivoli Gardens reclaim possession. Fuller does well to skip past Nickashay Murray. Thomas, bit of a risky pass, and he's lost possession. He's been caught out there. Molynes United on the attack. What can they conjure up now? Can they get a second? Cross coming in. Oh! And I thought for a second that it had been headed in for a second goal of the game. But Samson, okay, his attempt wouldn't have counted anyway. The flag's gone up on that right-hand side.
Yeah, it was a really good cross from Nickashay Murray. Good arc on it. Had Francis in a lot of trouble there. Unfortunately, for Molynes. And pretty fortunate for Tivoli. He was offside and did not hit the target regardless.
Just joining us, Molynes United 1, Tivoli Gardens 0. A goal was scored by player number 10, Nicholas Nelson.
Free kick now for Tivoli Gardens to be taken by Captain Keno Simpson. Takes it short, now finds Kimarley Smith. Using his step over there to get past the defender. Cross coming in, that's headed away by Livingston Cuesta. That will be a corner for Tivoli Gardens, I believe the first of the game for them. And they have a chance here to threaten. And we know that that man over there, the number 10, Nikolai Fuller, is a threat from set pieces. Scored one of the free kicks of the season against Cavalier early on. What can he do from this corner? It's not a bad one, but that's headed away. And now Barrett on the counter attack now with Molynes. He has teammates to his right and to his left. And a lovely move that's halted by Keno Simpson, who was expertly positioned to put a stop to that counter attack. Oh, bit of a high boot there from a Dupe, but thankfully didn't make contact. That could have ended pretty badly. Will be a throw-in to Molynes United, and he's just been urged by the linesman to just take a few steps back. Tamara McLaughlin plays it to Cuesta, who launches downfield into the vicinity of Nelson, who of course is the one who scored earlier. He's put his team in a very early lead. And now here's Nikolai Fuller. Lovely pass out wide to Smith, who's seemingly switched wings with Fuller. And Fuller's lost position there. And he does well to show some desire to attempt to win the ball back off of Tyreek Wilson, but it's been put out of play for a throw-in to Molynes United.
Get here now, because today is double day. Double day today at Jackson. First game is on the way. Molynes versus Tivoli Gardens.
And good defending there by Kavan Wilson once more, just to prevent OK on that occasion from venturing any further into their half. But now they have a throw-in now, Molynes United, which they take. And Shaquille Henry just opted to just put it out of play there, as he got the ball away from Nickashay Murray. But now O'Dane Murray will perhaps look to take a throw-in deep into the box. And he does, towards OK, headed on. And Fuller boots downfield. And that's headed on. Smith, now on that right-hand side, faced up with Barrett. Plays it to Simpson. Back to Kimarley Smith. Finds Nathan Thomas now in the middle of the park. And Seems he wasn't ready for that pass, but now Molynes United, they're ready to attack. Nelson. And a shot coming in from distance. Oh, what a save. But Nelson has another bite of the cherry. Just couldn't get his second of the game. But they haven't come as close as that since that opening goal. Wonderful opportunity, but wonderful save. Nathan Francis with a double save there. Hopefully we can get a replay of that opportunity as soon as the play is interrupted. But now Tivoli Gardens on the attack with Nikolai Fuller racing down that left-hand side. Wilson eventually pushes him to the ground, and that will be a free kick.
Yeah, pretty frantic passage of play there all around. Molynes doing really well on the transition once more. Powerful shot coming in. It was deflected by Francis into a central area, and you would have bet a serious amount of money there that Nicholas Nelson would find his 17th and second goal of the game. And Francis made himself big once more, and that's a massive save in the context of this game.
The initial shot there from DeMar McLaughlin, unbelievable, but great save nonetheless. Free kick coming in now from Fuller. Tried to catch the goalkeeper off guard there with a shot low to the near post. Unfortunately for him, it was cleared. Now Molynes United have another opportunity on the counter. A lovely pass by Wilson once more into Nelson. 1v1 with Simpson, opts for a pass and off the back of Simpson there, and he will earn himself a corner kick. And Wilson spoke about his creativity earlier, Lejay, and I have to say, he's been the danger man thus far in terms of those lovely through passes.
Yeah, I think if we were to look across the world of football, a proper comp, I would say, comparison for his style of play with Bruno Fernandes, always trying to push the ball forward, always trying to create something no matter the angle, never just lulling. And Tivoli not lulling here as Leachman wins a foul in the center circle.
And what about that turn from Leachman? Instinctive move there to just get away from the defender, but wins himself a free kick after he was dispossessed illegally. Simpson plays it out wide now to Henry. And the pass there intercepted. Now Molynes United once more can break. And I have to say, been quite a number of self-inflicted wounds from the Tivoli Gardens defense here. And every time they try to play out from the back, it seems that they're giving the ball away and really putting themselves under pressure here. Towards Leachman, controls, but loses the ball to Adin Murray. Wilson wins the ball there, but referee says he did it unfairly. Foul to Tivoli.
Yeah, Tivoli really struggling to get any sort of momentum going in this game. Every time they're going through the gears, playing out from the back, difficult for them to retain possession in the middle of the park. And I think it's because they're trying too many risky passes, not enough circulation, or progressive circulation at least, from them. And they've been slowing the tempo down a little bit too much as well. Henry now finding a pass out wide to the right.
An early cross coming in towards Leachman. He couldn't get on the end of it, but that's cleared downfield now. Once more, Molynes United opting for a more direct approach, and it seems to be working. They've generated a number of chances thus far because of it. That's headed away that time, however. Good defending coming in from Tashawn McBean. And now Shaquille Henry can venture forward, eventually loses possession there, perhaps over dribbling. There is Tyreek Wilson. Turns and somehow still has the ball. Great turn. Looking for a pass. Can't quite find one. Lays it off now for Nick Murray with a cross towards the back post, trying to find Oki perhaps. But Nathaniel Francis rather. Great goalkeeping there coming for that. Wilson once more stops on the ball, earns himself a free kick.
Yeah, Molynes, they look increasingly more dangerous every time they go forward with the ball. Tivoli just aren't carrying that same threat, and I can bet that's exactly what their coaching staff is discussing on the bench currently. Veteran head coach, multiple time Jamaica Premier League winner Jerome Waite at the helm for them. Tariq Wilson over this one, and it's rattled the bar.
What an opportunity there. It seemed for all the world that Cuesta was about to put that in, but Molynes United still on the attack, and it seems that in the event, Duma McLaughlin has been fouled just outside the box.
Yeah, Tariq Wilson again the deliverer of this opportunity, unmarked in the box.
And the follow-up saved once more. Nathaniel Francis, I'll tell you that. He's having a great game thus far. Of course, he's already conceded one, but through no fault of his own, he's made a number of really great saves thus far. As you can see, the replay here from a better angle. Lovely free kick, as you mentioned before, from Wilson, and it was headed on by Cuesta, who had a second attempt at it, but just couldn't get the connection that he wanted, and that was saved by Francis. Free kick taken now by Wilson, and that wasn't too far away, I'll tell you that, Leger. Wasn't far away at all. He's been really good from set pieces thus far, Wilson. And Tivoli Gardens now, it's going to take some doing for them to get something out of this game. A lovely ball over the top, trying to find Nelson, unable to, and Simpson now has possession of the ball for Tivoli Gardens. Looking downfield, trying to find Fuller, and he does. Does well to skip away from Nikoshe Murray, and he wins a free kick. Something that he's really excelled at thus far this season. A player who tends to draw many fouls because of his play style. He spins away from Cuesta there. And a lovely weight there on the pass. Fuller just using his hands there, trying to get some space, trying to get away from Wilson, but that's put out of play. It will be a throw-in to Tivoli Gardens.
A little boot adjustment for Nikolai Fuller before he prepares to take this set piece.
Yeah, my apologies. I seem to think that was a throw-in, but it actually is going to be a... No, I'm right. It is a throw-in. For a second there, I thought it was going to be a free kick. But now here's Leachman. Now here's Fuller. Opts for the cross. Didn't quite come off. And Murray shields that out for a goal kick.
Yeah, pretty comfortable defensively for Molynes.
And at the moment, I think Tivoli Gardens are making it a bit easy for them. And yes, the passing has been a bit risky, but at times I tend to think that it's because they don't really have great off-the-ball movement. A lot of players want the ball to feet and not necessarily darting into spaces in behind. And the play, now a pass rather played into the path of Dane Murray, who wins a throw-in for Molynes United.
Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you want to upgrade your VIP,
Murray once more opts for the deep throw, headed away once more by Wilson, and Murray's content to just allow that to go out for a throw-in. And as he prepares for this throw-in, just want to remind you, for those watching at home, we do have a second game coming up right after this at 7:30 between the hosts, Mount Pleasant, and Waterhouse. Fuller clears downfield. Let's put back into the mix now. And Nick Shea-Moore can get on the end of this. No, he can't. Nathaniel Francis, once more, doing a great job at commanding his box. Delivers downfield towards Kimari Smith, but that's headed away by Odupe. And now McLaughlin fails to win that aerial duel. Fuller slips there in a really unfortunate time, but now Samson Oki, just as he was racing through on goal, the linesman's flag goes up and puts a halt to that attack.
Yeah, but look at the intention from Tyreek Wilson immediately after winning possession of the ball, trying to get that one over the top, trying to find a teammate in behind. And you could see 3 Molynes players making that run as well. They know that he has the quality to find them, and they're getting into positions for him to.
Played downfield now, trying to find Fuller. Does well to take it down first time. Trying to find some space, just couldn't, and eventually lost the ball. Now Wilson playing it into Nelson. He's 1v1 with Wilson. He opts for the shot, and it was pretty central. Didn't really have the power either to beat Nathaniel Francis from there, but nevertheless, just really reflective of what we've seen right throughout this game. And Tyreek Wilson almost won the ball there in a pretty dangerous place there. And just another example of what we've been saying, really, Tivoli Gardens struggling to play it out from the back for the majority of this half. 36 minutes gone, and they've really had it all their own way. And I thought the flag was going to go up there for an offside decision potentially, but seems it wasn't. And now here's Nelson once more on the ball. Lovely back heel to Nick Shea-Moore, trying to get the return pass to Nicholas Nelson, and Wilson just wisely lets that go out for a goal kick. Not in the same wavelength there.
Yeah, but still more danger coming from Molynes. And I think if they were to just be a little bit more intricate, a little bit more accurate with their passing, there are more goals to score here for them in this game. Very, very promising performance so far, it must be said, by Molynes United.
And it seems there that I believe Ronaldo Barrett is down. And just will be requiring some medical attention. And both teams will use this opportunity just to get some refreshments, as well as perhaps some tactical instruction, just to regroup and rethink their strategy. And with that short little break, we would like to remind you of the people that make this Jamaican Premier League season possible. Of course, our league sponsor, Ray and Nephew, but also the Jamaican Football Federation, Ministry of Sports, Social Development Fund, CB Foods, Admiral Locker Room, GN Money, Fosco Oats, Parade, VM Group, iCool, Sunshine Snacks, Chemtech Development and Construction Company, and Sagicor Life. Once again, thanks to our sponsors for making this season and this game possible. And it seems that Barrett is okay. Now play can be restarted now with Shaquille Henry. Ewan. Thomas plays it out wide now to Simpson. And that pass goes astray, out of play. Beyond Kimari Smith. And I have to say, it isn't just the fact that Tivoli Gardens aren't necessarily playing well, but they look seriously low on confidence, Leger, I have to say.
And we did mention before the game had begun that they don't necessarily have much to play for towards the end of this season in this game and going forward as well, because of the fact that they aren't in that top 6 race. They aren't under any threat of relegation either. They're really just in, I guess you can say, purgatory a bit, just trying to honor their fixtures out. So despite the pride that they have as a club, despite the quality that they have in their team, it was always going to be a little bit difficult for their players to get G'd up for this game. We do see this a lot towards the end of any league season for any team. But nonetheless, I can assure you that they will be very disappointed with not only the effort but the quality that they've shown so far this game.
And one man who won't stand for that is coach, of course, Jerome Wade. A man who doesn't suffer fools, to put it lightly. And it's almost certain that there will be a stern talking to delivered, or as was once referred to by Sir Alex Ferguson as the hairdryer treatment. Of course, as you mentioned before, not much to play for, but there is a standard to be met, and so far, not quite meeting it. Wilson now can compose himself before taking the free kick. Tivoli content to recycle possession here at the back. Thomas looking long for Smith. Oh, and he's almost climbed over the back of him there. Leachman has possession of the ball, however, and he's lost possession of the ball. And a number of turnovers here on both teams. Thomas played out wide now once more to Leachman, who sees the ball played off of him, and it will be a throw the other way to Molynes United. Dupe will just go across to take the throw. And just a quick reminder for those who perhaps are just joining here, Molynes United are 1-0 up thanks to a goal from their informed frontman Nicholas Nelson, getting his 16th of the season, continuing his great form. And what was a goal full of errors, but nevertheless at the end, quality finish. And beyond that, I have to say Tyreek Wilson has stood out to me as one of the better players on the pitch thus far as well. His creativity has truly uplifted this team. He's been central to really everything good that they've done thus far, Molynes United. And should they go on to win this match, it would of course move them all that much closer to being certain about safety and retaining their status as a top-tier club in this country. But now, moving forward, is Tivoli Gardens. A lovely pass played into Leachman. Can he make something of it? Cross-played, but deflected away. Now is Nikolai Fuller trying to take on his man here. And he's been backed into a corner by two players. And he has no support really to speak of. And eventually does lose the ball. Double-teamed there. DeMar McLaughlin, one of them who was defending there. And I have to say, it's been perhaps the story of the season for Tivoli Gardens. Opportunities for chances always being halted. But now here's Samson Oke racing away down that right-hand side, looking for some numbers in the box. Turns. Doesn't like what he sees, and so he plays it back to Wilson, who puts it off for Murray. And a high boot there in the box by Keno Simpson, but nevertheless, he had to get there, and he did. Good defending in the end. Simpson coming forward, and Cuesta does well just to get that away from Molynes United. Smooth and pretty calm under pressure, but now here's Barrett playing that out wide to Nelson, to Nikoshe Murray, wide to a Dupe. Cross coming in, looking for Samson Oke, but in the end, quite a comfortable save there by the goalkeeper Nathaniel Francis, who's had a really decent game today. Of course, still 1-0 behind, but individually, I have to say he's done his job for the most part. Made a number of really great saves, and Nikolai Murray, have to say, he's taken a beating, not just so far in this game, but this season. I think if we had the statistic, Leger, he'd probably be top of the list in terms of fouls committed against. Barrett coming inside now, plays it off for Nelson. Trying to find McLaughlin, unable to, however. And went out for a goal kick. Corner, actually. Nathaniel Francis thought he had prevented it.
You're unable to keep that one in was custodian Francis. Molynes maybe trying to be a little bit too cute in and around the 18-yard area. But nonetheless, as we wind down to the final moments of this first half, expecting 2 minutes of stoppage time, can Molynes create another chance to go 2 goals up at the end of the first period?
Corner taken now. Oh, almost met there, I believe, by Murray. And now they're racing forward. Tivoli Gardens still coming forward here with full on the ball, trying to shake off Murray off of his back, and eventually wins a foul once more. And he's hobbling a bit here, Fuller. Mentioned he's taken a beating all season long, and just 21 years of age. I don't know if it's best for him to constantly be going through that. It's not what you want to see for one of Jamaica's premier young talents. Of course, only 21 years of age, but he's depended on like a veteran, already seasoned. That's put out of play for a throw there. And of course, we're already into added time, just about a minute of it left of the 2.
It is way better.
In society, every deposit got me here. Every step forward put me in the driver's seat.
Challenge. You see, true power is not something you can buy or collect. It's something that starts on the inside, and you always know it.
Overproof from what just I do it to the culture. A CB chicken, a better way. Introducing air chill chicken. It have more flavor, you don't know what you're missing.
Ladies and gentlemen, here after the restart of the game here in the second half, and if you're just joining us, Molynes United 2-1 up, well, 1-0 up rather, against Tivoli Gardens, thanks to a goal from Nicholas Nelson. But now Tivoli are on the attack with Nikolai Fuller, and as a corner kick comes in now, it's just a chance to just quickly look back on that first half. And what did you make of it, Leger?
Yeah, I think it was really intriguing. Molynes obviously gunning for the win, going for the win, getting that all-important goal, creating a few chances. Whether they resulted in shots or not, that's a different matter, but they certainly have been the more impressive team. They'll have to do some defending here as this corner kick comes in. Cleared away well, however. And they look to start another attack, but it will just be a throw-in for the team in blue.
Oh, not the greatest first touch in the world there. And he's eventually surrendered possession there, DeMar McLaughlin. And there was a substitution made. Trevon McCain did come on at the break for Shaquille Henry. And, ooh, that's most definitely a foul there on Colin Wedderburn. Did well to carry the ball that far. Thomas. Wedderburn. Unable to get to it is Leachman, but now they have possession still. UN gets it out wide to Kimari Smith, who tried to get past Odupe, but he does earn a corner kick for Tivoli Gardens. And it is worth noting, as Leger mentioned before, Tivoli in 10th place and not really within a realistic shot of making the playoffs. They have looked like a team that don't really have anything to play for. The complacency has been pretty evident, pretty lethargic in position, but now they have a corner kick and no one could get ahead to it, but they have a shot now, and that's blazed over the bar.
Yeah, really disappointing from a Molynes perspective in terms of what they're doing defensively off that corner kick. Janoy Williams left in acres of space, but didn't quite settle under that volley as he prepared to strike it. Does have the quality to do so. We saw last season him scoring one of the goals of the season, around 30 yards of volley, but didn't do well enough there as that one's flicked on. And it was a substitute. Goals of the season, around 30 yards of volley. Almost turning provider there, but didn't do well.
Molynes United very narrowly. Almost came close there to getting a second from Siobhan Miller, who seems to be playing up front with Nicholas Nelson since coming on. And a lovely pass there. And a lovely one over the, well, good attempt over the top. Trying to find Nelson once more there. But good defending, but no, Molynes have the ball once more down that right-hand side. Back to O'Dane Murray now. Enrique Gordon has made his way onto the pitch. And Murray going down the right-hand side. Whips across in, and that's headed away by Simpson. Molynes United starting off this half as they begun the first, putting Tivoli Gardens under pressure. And the throw in now cleared by Keno Simpson. And that's booted downfield, and perhaps thought it was going to go out of play, but now here's Tivoli Gardens now. Lost position to Siobhan Miller, and Kevon Wilson gets there ahead of him, using his hands there to just shield the ball. Thomas. Ooh, poor first touch there. Now Ronaldo Bart can come forward with Molynes United. Plays out wide to Wilson. Can he keep it in play and get a cross in here potentially? Back to Barrett. And good defending in the end. But they still have the ball, Molynes United, and he's turned out of a seemingly impossible situation. Wilson couldn't quite get the ball out of his feet.
Yeah, that was a determining factor of that attack ending, or I might say ending prematurely, but in the end it's Tivoli escaping with possession here. Really good bit of work there from Barrett.
Tivoli Gardens.
Another substitute, Trevon McCain, who came on for Tivoli. Really silky player is McCain, and here he is on the ball once more. Unable to get around his defender, and it will be a throw-in heading the way of Molynes United.
We'd just like to apologize, ladies and gentlemen, for the breaking transmission. There was an outage at the premises, and that's why the broadcast was interrupted. But once more, just apologies for that there. But now we're back, and Molynes United playing like they never left. And Barrett has a shot. And easily snapped up. Simpson. Good bit of dribbling there in a tight space from Kimarley Smith. Gets it out wide. Javon McCain surging forward, plays it off for Fuller. Has a shot from way out and blazed high over the bar, and seems goalkeeper there, Darren Dene, was absolutely furious with his defense for giving him a sea of space there. And all the time in the world to take that shot on Fuller, and he'll just be kicking himself that he just couldn't produce a better effort from there perhaps. But nevertheless, Tivoli Gardens just unfortunate at the moment. They'll have to do a better job, however, of creating some better chances. But now here's Ronaldo Barrett taking on Wedderburn. It's played to Wilson. Has the ball taken off of his feet there by Trevon McCain. Leachman wins a foul, and he takes it quickly, a bit too quickly for the referee's liking, and that will go back to Ewan. Now it's Fuller. It's a chance not to take on his man. He gets past him, and he still has the ball. Eventually lose it, however. Good defending there coming in by Livingston Cuesta. Simpson plays it back, and I thought it was going to be a foul for a minute there, but it's gone back to Simpson. Crossfield pass, lovely switch of play to Kimarley Smith. He's 1v1 with a Dupe. Hits him with a step over, but unable to beat him. Refused to be moved there. Wedderburn. Lovely move to get around the corner, and good defending in there in the end by Cuesta. Put out of play. And Kimarley Smith now leaves the throw-in for Wedderburn to take. Wedderburn just awaiting. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies once more. And now they're through Molynes United. Nicholas Nelson, however, is offside and denied. Well, Tyreek Wilson, have to say, he's been good so far. And Nicholas Nelson there on that occasion just denied a chance at a second goal of the game.
Yeah, a few power issues here at the Droxall Sports Complex leading to a loss of service, but we are working on it, and it is back temporarily as Tivoli are trying to work on getting an equalizer in this game. Have made a whole host of substitutions. Here's two of them combining, Anthony Nelson to Steve Clark, and then Nathan Thomas with a misplaced pass. A very poor one indeed, and it will be a goal kick heading the way of Molynes United.
And as you mentioned before, a number of substitutions being made While the broadcast was trying to be fixed, and mentioned 2 before that were substituted onto the pitch, but Justin Dunn has also come on. Tivoli getting desperate now, trying to get back into this game, and now Siobhan Miller had a strike, and that's cleared there. Good defensive work there by Tivoli Gardens in the end. And that's played downfield now by Neil. And Simpson wisely guides his header towards his goalkeeper, Nathaniel Francis. Steve Clark disappointed as he wanted that ball, but he's played it towards Dunn. Tivoli Gardens half position once more now with Nathan Thomas. Simpson to Dunn, who lost possession there, and a high number of turnovers now, getting a bit sloppy in terms of retaining possession, both teams. And that's gone out of play once more. Will be a throw-in the other way to Molynes United. And just to remind you, for those who are unaware, the score is currently 1-0 to Molynes United, courtesy of a goal from Nicholas Nelson in the first half. And for majority of the game, really, Molynes United have pretty much just dominated. It's all gone their way. The bulk of the position and chances. And Tivoli Gardens will be disappointed with the performance, and that's perhaps why they've made all those changes. Really do want to get something from this game, and their coaches, as I mentioned before, not one to suffer fools. He's not one to be content with what he deems to be mediocrity, and he will make it known, even public. But Tivoli Gardens do have some decent firepower that has come onto the bench, especially in the form of Anthony Nelson. They'll be hoping that he can make an impact. But Norris Barrett, who's had his own imprint on the game thus far. Played downfield now by Cuesta, trying to find Nelson. And Kavan Wilson in the end. Good job defensively there, but the clearance is only as far as Tyreek Wilson. Trying to find Siobhan Miller out on that right-hand side, unable to, however. McCain played it to Smith, who won a foul. Free kick taken quickly by Fuller. Here's Anthony Nelson. And can he keep it in play here, Wilson? Yes, he can. And lovely pass there on the corner, Steve Clark. And that's played downfield now towards Nicholas Nelson, who, if he can time this right, has a chance. And plays it around to Miller. Oh, it's a term that you love to use. Perhaps he hit it a bit too sweetly there.
Yeah, I think he opted for the more difficult finish, did Miller. Excellent work from Nicholas Nelson eventually to get that one under control. I think he had enough time to get that one under control and then get a proper shot off. He saw the lights, which have recently been turned on here at the Droxall Sports Complex, and he saw his name in them as well. Opted for the glory strike, but it wasn't good enough. And Molynes still only up by 1-0.
Ooh, a pretty dangerous challenge there coming in on Clark, and that will be a free kick. And that will be taken by Janoy Williams, who's been he's been known to pick up a few fouls himself. A number of yellow cards this season, among the most in the league. But a good attempt there, that pass, trying to find Steve Clark there, but it'll be a corner kick after Molynes United cleared that. And it seems actually it will be a throw-in. Fuller kept it in play, and he actually finds a teammate who has a strike there, and in the end, well, wasn't as comfortable as the save should have been, but Nevertheless, he's dealt with it adequately. Nicholas Nelson heads it on, but had no one in support. And it seems that Molynes United have changed their shape a bit. As I mentioned before, Siobhan Miller now just beginning to play up front with Nicholas Nelson. Nelson, his namesake, almost doing a lovely turn there to get away from his man, but he's lost possession of the ball there.
Tivoli leaving 2 players back to deal with 2 Molynes players. It seems like a recipe for disaster, in all honesty. Speaking of recipes for disaster, here's Nikolai Fuller driving at this Molynes defense, trying to win that foul, didn't, and now here's Molynes on the attack.
Nelson headed it on, trying to find Miller, but in the end, good defending by Tivoli Gardens. And that's booted downfield towards McLaughlin. And headed on by Barrett towards Nicholas Nelson, who can try to supply his teammate here. Miller gets the shot away, and he scores. Molynes United starting out this second half just as they did the first, and they have a well-deserved second of the game. Siobhan Miller.
Yeah, we did say that leaving your defenders 1v1 around the back with this Molynes team, who are leaving 2 strikers up against them, was always going to be a difficult proposition, a dangerous one. And finally that danger has turned into something clinical. Siobhan Miller needed some help with the finish. That help eventually came. And it's 2-0 now for Molynes, and they're certainly heading for their 4th consecutive win in the Jamaica Premier League, and certainly steering themselves even further from that dreaded relegation zone. Really good work from Molynes. And it looks as if they're pulling off the great escape in some aspects yet again.
And it seems that following that goal, that they will be making a couple of substitutions. Jaheim Fraser and Marlon Pennycook are about to make their way onto the pitch. And I have to say, Pennycook in particular has been really decent this season. He's going to replace Nicholas Nelson, who did his job today, certainly scored. Pennycook, whenever called upon, has produced in front of goal. And he'll be looking to get his 7th of the season as he comes off the bench. But of course, perhaps won't even be needed, as Molynes United look in cruise control right now, in complete control of this game thus far. They've really limited Tivoli to pretty much half chances and speculative efforts. Anthony Nelson now on the ball. Plays it out wide to Nikolai Fuller, taking on Murray. Composed himself before making the pass to Dunn, and he's lost out there to Murray. Good defending. Miller, the goal scorer, on the ball, plays it into the path of Adin Murray, surging forward now, and they're still on the ball. Miller urged to shoot by the crowd, but he just couldn't produce a second of the game there. That's gone wayward.
He had a lot of space and time there opening up for him as he decided to take that shot on. Look at that gap between the Tivoli backline and their midfield area. So much space for so much danger. The danger was there, not executed well enough from Miller.
And did mention earlier that Molynes United, one of the teams that actually tend to generate the most chances in the league, and if they can just develop some forwards who can help to share that goal-scoring burden with Nicholas Nelson, we could see them make a real run next season. But so far in the short term in this game, they've been doing just that. They'll be hoping to put Tivoli to the sword here. Pennycook doing some good hold-up play there, winning that free kick. And just to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, we do have another game coming up for you at Mount Pleasant Stadium, the Draxall Sports Complex. It will be between Mount Pleasant and Waterhouse.
Yeah, massive contest, that one. Not necessarily in a top 6 race, as I'll get back onto that. Molynes once again threatening, but on this occasion Pennycook unable to hit the target. Look at the space that they have marauding into on this right hand side. Opted for power, opted for that near post. In the end, didn't trouble Francis. But yeah, massive game coming up at 7:30. Mount Pleasant hosting Waterhouse. Mount Pleasant currently in 2nd position. Waterhouse possibly trying a late push to get into that top 2. Both teams in pretty good nick in the 3rd round, the calendar year to be specific. And that certainly promises to be a very good game. I can't express that enough. Tivoli getting across in Donay leaving that one. And in the end, it's going to go all the way out for a goal kick. Currently in the table, Molynes up now to 11th position on 39 points. This would be their 4th win in succession. It would lift them to 3 points ahead of the relegation zone. Harborview currently in 13th in that last relegation spot on 36 points. Most importantly though for Molynes, their goal difference currently -3. Harborview, their goal difference -20. And sandwiched between them, it's Treasure Beach, currently on 37 points. 1 point ahead of Harborview, but Treasure Beach do have a half of football to be played against Tivoli, a game that they were leading 2-1 after 45 minutes before it was suspended. That one will be finished up on Thursday, and if it's this Tivoli that we see, I would probably put some money that Treasure Beach would finish the job there. So really precarious for Harborview heading into the last couple of weeks of the season. The matchups in the last couple of weeks as well, extremely intriguing. Molynes taking on Harborview in match week 38 next week Sunday. And of course, Treasure Beach taking on Molynes in the final week of the season as well. So Molynes really with their fate in their own hands. Practically every team as well, but so much still to play for. But Molynes doing an excellent job of almost assuring that they won't be dragged into that race as we head into the last game of the season.
Williams plays that now, and a dummy there by McCain, who seemed to think that Clark would have read his mind there. But, a slip there by O'Dane Murray, and perhaps pretty smartly there, Clark has played it off of him and won a throw in pretty high up the pitch. Just about 11 minutes to go in this one. And it has been, as we see, a shot from way out. It has been a pretty disappointing game from Tivoli Gardens, and such is the nature of the shot as well. It's pretty much reflected their performance thus far. It's lacked intentionality, lacked any sort of real conviction or purpose. Now is McCain. Wilson. And Pennycook has actually won the ball back, tried to play it into Miller, but that was cut out. Oh, pretty dangerous there. They've lost possession. Pennycook has a shot and saved quite comfortably in the end by Nathaniel Francis. But Pennycook, since coming on, has looked a real threat. He's had a number of opportunities thus far. And McCain's tracked that down. Plays it into Dunn. Looking for support. Eventually gets it from McCain. Now Williams. Plays it into the path of his teammate there, Clark, who will get the ball back as the referee impeded his movement there. Now we have a set piece, or a drop ball rather. And a free kick. Actually, it is a free kick, and usually you'd bet some money that at the very least he'd be on target from Nikolai Fuller. We know of his expertise in this range, but
this usually spells danger. Fuller, set piece taker extraordinaire. It's been a while since we've seen some magic.
steps up here, but that one launched into the wall and actually has hit the head of an opposing player. Medical attention required urgently. Seems just a bit of confusion there.
Yeah, player got back to his feet somewhat. It was Gerald Neal. And if he's anything like his father, I can suspect that he is okay. His father, Gerald Neal Sr., of course, known as one of the toughest men to ever play in the Jamaica Premier League. Spent most of his time at Arnett Gardens, where Gerald Neal Jr. began his career. Now here at Molynes, and has been a rock, no pun intended, at the back, especially over these last 4 games. Less than 8 minutes to go in regular time in this game. Suspect that this stoppage will be added on as stoppage time.
And as we see just waiting for the medical staff just to get off the pitch to allow play to continue. Seems that he will be okay there, Neil, thankfully. And Tivoli Gardens have possession of the ball once more. Now with McCain. A couple of fakes and eventually crosses it into the box. A dangerous one. And a shot coming in there. But Wedderburn just couldn't direct it goalward. Now, Molynes United, their time to just be under a bit of pressure. Remaining 7 minutes of the game, Tivoli Gardens will be hunting a couple of goals to at least get a result out of this. Clark loses possession of the ball. Pennycook, lovely pass around the corner to Miller, and he slipped it through now, and he's offside there, James Fraser.
Yeah, really slick passage of play there from Molynes. Francis to take this free kick for Tivoli deep in their territory. Dunn got the first contact. Steve Clark wins it off for Dupe. Looking for a pass inside, has to settle for Nicholas Nelson down the right hand side.
And once more, the referee just getting in the way there. Tivoli Gardens have another opportunity here to really have a shot at goal. The last attempt wasn't the best of what we know he has in his locker, but we've seen him already score a number of free kicks in the Jamaican Premier League, especially early this season against Cavalier. But once more, can he step up and deliver a moment of magic as his team are down? Can he put them back into the game and well on their way to getting some sort of a result out of this encounter? Williams leaves it. Fuller strikes, but his shot is dragged wide.
Yeah, opted for power on that occasion, but the connection wasn't good enough. Here it is once more. Struck that one with the instep, hard and low. Donai, simple for him to watch that one. Blaze by, late challenge coming in from Odupe. And space now on the right-hand side for Steve Clark.
Clark, oh, I was about to say he did well to get away from Cuesta, but good challenge there coming in from the defender. Fraser takes on Thomas and beats him, surging down that left-hand side now, trying to cut in and bamboozles Keno Simpson, but makes a good recovery there, and that should be a corner kick.
Yeah, it was always going to be difficult to beat Keno Simpson in a 1v1 battle. Despite the skill of Jaheim Fraser. Really good defending there from the Tivoli skipper. And it will be a corner kick coming up for Molynes.
Once more, it's Tyreek Wilson to take. And it seems Cuesta was down there in the back part of the field, but as you can see here, it's a lovely night out here at the Jacks Hall Sports Complex. Great weather. Did seem as though it was going to rain for a second, but thankfully didn't quite live up to what we had expected in terms of weather. And Molynes United take the corner short, but it hasn't quite come off. And now Tivoli can potentially break here now with Anthony Nelson. Plays it across for McCain, gets passed back and loses it, it seems, but no. Pennycook warded off by Nelson. And Thomas didn't get to it somehow. Miller plays it to Pennycook, who has support, opts to go alone, and that shot is blocked. And I have to say, in the final third, Pennycook has looked a bit selfish at times.
Yeah, but you can excuse him a bit. His team up 2-0, comfortable in the game, wanting to get on the score sheet for himself. It always is a relatively good sign when your striker is selfish at times, I'll say. No different for Pennycook. As this one just dredging to an end, really. Tivoli building from the back. Now here through Janoy Williams.
Lovely attempt at a pass there, trying to find Dunn, but pass from Wedderburn just didn't quite come off, and has his hands up in an apology there. Cuesta looking downfield, finds Miller, towed off of him by Williams. Clark, a hefty challenge coming in from the back there, but they still have the ball now with Janoy Williams. Played out wide to Nikolai Fuller, who showed a pretty poor level of awareness there. Didn't quite know what the ball was, and that's gone out for a throw-in to Molynes United. And that's pretty much summed up their night. Hasn't been a great showing at all. Simpson heads that one to OK, and that's cleared downfield once more by Simpson. Thomas. There's now Janoy Williams on the ball. And Tivoli, you'd think that they were the team that were 2-0 up, given the lack of urgency that we've seen from them, but now we have a confirmation that 3 minutes will be added at the end of this one. And as we see a confrontation here at the near the center circle, even the goalkeeper getting involved, and there's a yellow card as well.
Yeah, handed out to Pennycook and Nikolai Fuller as well, I believe. Referee Parchment getting on top of that as quickly as possible. Fuller still going back for seconds.
Not the sort of thing you want to see, and in the end, Nathan Thomas trying to play peacemaker, and Anthony Nelson just urging his teammates just to pause from the fighting. Now Tivoli can take their free kick.
Yeah, into 3 minutes of stoppage time. Very little time remaining. And it certainly feels that way as well.
Simpson still has the ball despite the challenge to the shoulder of Pennycook. Cross went in, but just couldn't quite reach anyone despite Fuller's best attempts to keep it in play. That goes out for a goal kick to Molynes United, who are in no real danger and haven't really been all game. And just a reminder, the playoffs are coming up soon, and it's sure to be an amazing spectacle once more. Plenty of drama, plenty of amazing storylines. Some heroes, some villains are sure to emerge. And just as it was last season, it's sure to be a great one. Another fantastic showing this year. Of course, given that they are the league leaders, Montego United will perhaps go into it as favorites. But remains to be seen what they'll look like in the knockout stage of this competition.
Yes, so much to look forward to at all ends of the table as the season ticks to a close. Less than a minute to go in this game. Fuller still trying to make an impact as he races away down the left-hand side.
And he got past Neil there, but forced to turn back. And a shot coming in, and despite its power, didn't have the accuracy that was needed, and that will be the full-time whistle.
Excellent result for Molynes United. 4 wins on the trot now. They've finished this game on 39 points, inching further and further away from the relegation zone. And a very impressive 2-0 victory against Tivoli Gardens, courtesy of course, Nicholas Nelson. He then turned provider for Siobhan Miller to score the second in the second half. Really good work, and a much needed win as well. Reminder that we have a second game. Mount Pleasant taking on Waterhouse at 7:30. Massive fixture. Stay tuned for it. Final score, Molynes United 2, Tivoli Gardens 0.
Living, yeah.
Share it.
I make we all a one bar. You don't know we come from far.
From far, anytime we rep in we country, rear rum it have to come with we.
No matter with the bad vibes.
Poor rear rum a celebration time.
I feel we culture. Make we show ya Jamaican culture.
And if you overproof from we just a do it to we culture.
A CB chicken, a better way. Introducing air chill chicken. It have more flavor, you don't know what you're missing. It tastes better, full of flavor in the kitchen. Better value, better taste, better chicken. CB chicken, tastes way better. Air chilled chicken, taste way better. Better value, better taste, better chicken. No antibiotic and hormone free. Have you tasted the new air chilled chicken? Or my chicken nut? CB chicken, it tastes way better.
I save from VM Building Society. Every deposit got me here. Every step forward put me in the driver's seat.
For everything you're looking forward to, open an iSave account today. Visit gotomyvm.com to get started. Every $25,000 you save with iSave earns an entry to win cash or a new home of your own. The more you save, the more entries you get, and every entry has a chance to win a brand new home of your own. VM iSave is the key to winning.
Here's to the early risers, and we are here all-nighters, the go the extra milers, and let's do it until it works, workers. People who are powerful because they power through day after day, challenge after challenge. You see, true power is not something you can buy or collect. It's something that starts on the inside, and you always know it when you see it. Sunshine Snacks Peanuts, proud supporters.
Me can't help you. No. You're ready? You're not going to train, that's not a problem. Because if you get trained, you wouldn't do it. If you ease yourself, you would. You don't know what you do. You don't chat off your mouth. But the man, the man feels himself, man. After interview, no, leave.
Good night, coach. Tough result tonight, but
nah, hear nothing, because the music. I don't know if you can step out of your zone and come a little closer. Not in front of the camera. Because them turn up the music too much. Right. Yeah, what you say now? You see.
Good night, coach. Tough result tonight, but what were your thoughts on the game?
Well, first and foremost, congratulations to the Molynes team. Tivoli, I think we have not done enough. Today, Molynes look the better team. They know the position that they're in, and basically they fought to ensure that they get that win.
You mentioned that the position they're in, how difficult it is for you to inspire your team when they're coming up against a team that has something to play for.
Well, you know, we're mid-table. We cannot make the top six, and you know, to motivate these youngsters, it's not easy. But we still have more games, so we are going to ensure that we continue to honor the fixtures.
Of course, your star man Fuller looked a bit off the pace tonight. What do you think was central to that?
I'm not sure if I heard what you said through the noise.
All right, apologies. Nikolai Fuller, your star man, looked off the pace tonight. I was wondering, what could you provide in terms of insight as to why?
I think the problem with Fuller, he wants to do too much. And, you know, in this situation, you will get hurt. And, you know, it's glad to know that he's injury-free based on how he played today. But he's pretty much young, you still have to understand.
All right, thanks, coach. That'll do.
All right.
Sharp, we're good to go. Sharp, we're good to go.
What were your thoughts? Good night, coach. What were your thoughts on what was not just a great result, but a great performance tonight from your team?
Yeah, I thought it was a good one. We got 2 goals. That's the most important thing. At this stage of the season, 3 points is just awesome when you get it, so you take it. We missed a lot of goals, though, and I'm a little bit concerned, but guess what? Grateful for the 3 points, 2 goals, a clean sheet. What more can you ask?
Of course, 4 wins in a row now in what is a pretty difficult and important part of the season, trying to stave off relegation. Tell me, what has been central to you guys doing as well as you have lately?
We have been working a bit harder. We have been scoring. This is about probably 16 goals in 4 games and only conceding 1. So we have been working harder. We have been disciplined. We have been a little bit more organized, and just some more commitment has been shown by the players, and I think that accounts for what you're seeing now.
And just lastly, before you go, you mentioned scoring. Another one here tonight for Nicholas Nelson. Just quickly underscore his importance to the team.
Very good player. Moves up very well. Moves off the ball very well. Should have scored probably 2 or 3 more, but nonetheless, you want to give God thanks for his contribution.
All right. Thanks, Coach. That'll do.
Yeah, man. Thanks much.
Shout. Oh. Stay too. Come on. You play a time now. You're talking. Yeah. Speaking of my good boss. Yeah? Yeah, man.
Congratulations, Tyreek. You won the Sunshine Snacks Man of the Match Award. How does it feel?
Well, it's a great feeling. First and foremost, to get the 3 points. So it's a great feeling. It's a good move from there.
Of course, your creativity has been really important to the team. Do you think you're one of the most important players on the team in terms of how well you can create chances for your teammates?
Yeah.
And we saw that on show today, but also you guys have been playing really well, 4 wins in a row now. Talk to us through what your coach has been helping you guys with in terms of winning matches at this stage of the season.
Just work hard. Yeah. Just work hard, man.
All right, no problem. A man of few words. All right, thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Tyreek.
Of the powerful.
Ray and Never, feel we culture. Yo!
New beginning, we winning, so share our spirit where you living, yeah.
Share it.
I make we all a one par, you don't know we come from far.
From far, anytime we rep, feel we country. Rear rum, it have to come with we.
No matter with the bad vibes.
Poor rear rum, a celebration time.
I feel we culture. Make we show ya Jamaican culture.
Ray and Never, overproof from we just a do it feel we culture.
A CB chicken, a better way. Introducing air chill chicken. It have more flavor, you don't know what you're missing. It tastes better, full of flavor in the kitchen. Better value, better taste, better chicken. CB chicken.